Vanakkam friends, this is ARRM Arun. I'm President of the Southern India Chamber of Commerce and Industry, SICCI. On behalf of SICCI, we take great pleasure in welcoming our esteemed guest for today, Mr. M. Rafiq Ahmed, Chairman of the Chennai-based Farida Group, as well as former President of SICCI and FIO for today's program. We are very glad to have Mr. Rafiq Ahmed join us. Also, on behalf of SICCI, we take great pleasure in welcoming each one of you, our audience, for having decided to spend the time with us today. We are sure that it will be well worth your time. I would like to wish each one of you a very good evening. As most of you would be aware, SICCI has completed 111 years of service to industry, government, and society. During these 111 years, we have conducted several programs, and each one of our programs, we've had several guests of eminence joining us. Invariably, our guests address us for about 20 to 25 minutes they spend with us, and they address us purely in areas of their expertise. We, however, felt that our guests have much more to offer than just the area of expertise. That is how we came up with the concept of SICCI 360. We are extremely glad that having started in October of 2020, SICCI 360 has completed 17 highly successful sessions, today being our 18th session. And we are also extremely glad that we have a person of Mr. Rafiq Ahmed's eminence to be with us as our guest for today. SICCI 360 is certainly a new foray for SICCI, and it's building on the experience of our seminars. We wanted to give it a name that depicts a multidimensional perspective, because each one of our programs is towards depicting a multidimensional perspective about each one of our guests. We found that the 360 connotation is very apt for something like this, and that's how we came up with the SICCI 360 name. And today it's one of the most valued brands within SICCI. We orient these discussions as a lively discussion with each of our eminent guests, and we have a stringent criteria for selecting our guests. We look for over 4 decades of not just industry experience of their respective industries, but we also look for guests who have contributed significantly for the benefit of society. We look for this to be a session where our guests can share with us their all-round paths to excellence and how they've been able to reach positions of eminence within their respective fields. Certainly, this is an apolitical discussion. The format that we follow in this monthly series is that we have a 5-section program that we adopt. We first talk about our guests' expertise. We then speak about our guests' career or other organization and their role within their organization. Third, we speak about our guests' career path. Fourth, we speak about our guests' inputs for the next generation. And finally, we talk about our guests' inputs for society. We would certainly like you, the audience, to participate in this program. Please feel free to share your comments in the online chat box, and our SICCI 360 team will be glad to feed it to us so that we can get it answered in the course of the conversation today. There are 2 very simple guidelines that we follow in this monthly series. One is we would like our guests to be at comfort at all points of time, such that our guests like to be able to come back to the session as and when they feel in the future. And secondly, we would also like you, the audience, to gain out of your participation with us. I would also like to bring your attention to the names of 2 of our executives listed in the bottom of this slide. I request you to please make a note of it. And if any of you have any trouble reconnecting during the course of today's program, please feel free to give our executives a call, and they will be glad to assist you reconnect. I would now like to take this opportunity to share a few words about our esteemed guest for today, Mr. M. Rafiq Ahmed. He started his career in 1963 under his father's guidance. His father was late Mr. M. Abdul Majid. After his father's passing away, Mr. Rafiq Ahmed succeeded him and got involved with the business in a leadership position starting 1965. Under Mr. Rafiq Ahmed's guidance, the Farida Group has grown from being just a tannery to having many shoemaking divisions. Mr. Rafiq Ahmed has been instrumental in diversifying the business, starting from upper making factories in the late 1960s and then established full shoemaking factories in the 1980s. Mr. Rafiq Ahmed became chairman of the Farida Group in 1996, and the group today has its major presence in Vellore district. It has created thousands of jobs for locals, and today employing more than 9,000 people. They have a 80,000 square feet facility. They manufacture about 23,000 pairs of shoes, and they have over 3,500 pairs of shoe uppers per day that they manufacture. The turnover of the group is about 2,600 crores. 90% of it is exported. Actually, there is another data that we've got where they globally they employ nearly 30,000 people, out of which more than 95% are women. Their manufacturing presence spans Ethiopia, Bangladesh, China, with sales offices in New York City, London, Tokyo, and Singapore. Mr. Rafiq Ahmed is also actively involved in various social commitments for the benefit of society at large. He is involved with providing educational scholarships for deserving students, provides medical assistance for the poor, and also gets involved with environment-friendly initiatives. Mr. Rafiq Ahmed, we are particularly glad, has been past president of SICCI. We are very, very proud about that. And he has also been former president of FIO, the Federation of Indian Exporters Organizations. He's also played a very active role there. He's currently president of the All India Hides and Skin Tanners and Merchants Association. He is member of the Research Council of the Central Leather Research Institute. He's chairman of the Ambur Economic Development Organization Limited, and he's also a member of the Foreign Trade Board. Importantly, Mr. Rafiq Ahmed has been awarded the Padma Shri, India's fourth highest civilian award in 2011, and this was recognizing his achievements in trade and commerce. With these few words, I would again like to take this opportunity to welcome Mr. Rafiq Ahmed to today's program. Mr. Rafiq, vanakkam, எப்படி இருக்கீங்க?
Vanakkam, vanakkam, Arun, vanakkam, all our members here who have joined us, and to meet all our old friends from SICCI. And really, my tenure in SICCI as a president, as a SICCI, gave me a lot of pride, and I tell you. We left with a good introduction to across the industry. No doubt I was there in other organizations, but SICCI especially gave me a good respect in the here. And I really cherish that time as a president, sir. I thank you all of us, and thank you for choosing me for this 18th event of your 360, SICCI 360 events.
Glad to have you with us, Mr. Rafiq. So getting started right into the first section on expertise, what has been your success mantra behind your growth from a tannery to a multi-crore shoe manufacturing business?
Arun, what happened is I joined into this business very early, up 1963, 64. Actually, 63, 64, I joined this business. I saw that the British, what they left out after that colonial rule, they still were there, dominating the business sense. They were totally, our business was with England, and all our things was controlled with the British people. And the people who are used to do the semi-finished leather and export to them, all these things was being done. Opposed to that, I felt very uncomfortable when I saw that situation being there. I said this should change, and accordingly, the first one I said we should change to different. We should progress to a different level. So I took the decision of changing it to finished leather. Finished leather, once we start to making finished leather, the dominance of the British people, the companies were less on that. We will go directly to see customers in England, in the UK. Continent was opened up for us. Even USA opened up for us. So slowly I took the decision. That was the earlier part, which was very difficult. It says the technology was not there. The machines were not there, but still we went out and bought out, and then from there I didn't stop. When everybody was flourishing in finished leather, then we went out to upper. We were the first one to, probably the one to upper. From shoe upper, we went up to the shoes, much before others. So those things, the girls not standing in one way, going for the next thing, probably gave us the lead. Our company got the lead, and we were able to do it much faster and able to do what we are able to achieve today, what we are today. The changes, because comfort, whenever you are finding it comfort, if you stay in the comfort, it will not be too long that you will become very uncomfortable in that same position. So you have to go to the next progressive business or next progressive position. So that's why we always changed for progressive markets. That is what kept our company as one of the largest company in India at the moment.
That's a very important point, Mr. Rafiq. A business has to continue to evolve because, as you rightfully said, if you stop evolving, then you become very comfortable, and then perhaps that will bring a deceleration. So, unless you keep evolving, you're not going to be able to continue to grow and be value added. But when we look at leather and when we look at India as a country, Mr. Rafiq, today India is the second largest exporter of leather garments. We are the third largest in saddlery and harness, and we are the fourth largest in leather goods worldwide. What has contributed to the success as a country?
See, I can say yes. Excepting in leather garment, I will just give you a brief about the world trade in the leather industry. As a world trade is $200 billion. $200 billion is the world trade in the leather industry today. What is the share of India in this? Is only 5.4 billion. Out of 200 billion, our share is 5.42, which is less than 3%. That is the position in the global. Even today, after so many decades, we are not reached to that. If you see, we are number two in the only one field, which is a very tiny field, very, very small field, is leather garment. Leather garment is only 3 billion of $200 billion business, world trade business, which is less than 1.5% business. There, our position is number two. That is the success we got. First one is Italy with 565 billion, and India is 446, very close to Italy. We are there in a small one. Same thing, if you go to the good position we have is in the saddlery and harness. Saddlery and harness is a skill based, which came in the Kanpur during the British rule when they put the army things there in Kanpur. They taught us how to make the saddlery and harness for the Indian Army in those days. That is also very small business, 1.74 billion of the global trade, where we got about 154 million there, where China is already there at 684 million there. So when you see all these numbers, our numbers we are ranking maybe there, but our share is actual share is very small. But there is a huge potential for India to grow. And I think one of the ideal item is the footwear. Footwear is the thing in the world trade. You can see that 60% of the world trade is the footwear. And India is also growing in that one. And we have a lot of hope that India will grow on that. Although our share is today 1.9 versus 10 billion of China. We are only 1.9 billion today. But we are progressing well. We will be achieving in that one.
On the lighter side, Mr. Rafiq, நான் என்ன கேள்விப்பட்டிருக்கேன். அவங்க சில பேர் எனக்கு சொல்லியிருக்கிறாங்க, நம்ம ஒருத்தரை பத்தி தெரிஞ்சுக்கணும்னாக்க அவங்க என்ன மாதிரி ஷூஸ் போடுறாங்க, அது நல்ல குவாலிட்டியா, நல்ல குவாலிட்டி இல்லையா, அதை பார்த்துட்டு அவங்க என்ன மாதிரி ஒரு ஆட்கள்னு நம்மளால தெரிஞ்சுக்க முடியும். நீங்க என்ன நினைக்கிறீங்க அதை பத்தி?
இல்லைங்க, டெஃபினட்டாங்க. ஷூ தான் gives you the pride of you. உங்களுக்கு காமிக்கிறதா ட்ரெஸ் ஒரு பக்கம் இருந்தாலும் கீழே பார்க்கும்போது தான் எல்லாம் சொல்லுவாங்க, மயில் தோகையிட்டு ஆடும், நல்லா ஆடும், காலை பார்த்து அழுவோம்னு சொல்லிட்டு. அதுல பாவம் அதுக்கு ஷூ போட தெரிஞ்சிருந்தாக்கா அந்த மாதிரி அழுவாது அது மயில். அது தட்ஸ் வாட் ஐ ஃபீல், தட் ஷூ கிவ்ஸ் யூ pride also. What type of shoe you want and so. See, it is a very particular thing, shoe. And the important shoe important in every time, not only now, from the older days to now also, in the future also, shoe will play a bigger role on your own feeling good on you, going out and showing yourself what type of shoes you wear. Now, சில டைம்ல just to share you 1 minute, in South Africa, if you go, the rich, the black people sometimes put the best brand shoe on their try பண்ணி கழுத்துக்கு மேல போட்டுக்கிட்டு நடப்பாங்க, கால்ல கூட போட மாட்டாங்க. They will show that they are carrying this shoe. This is where they are telling in South Africa. That is the kind of a pride the shoe will give you. That's what I'm saying.
Continuing on with India as a country, across sectors, we are more services based rather than products based. Leatherle on the Marida, we seem to be manufacturing for the world and not really selling in our brand. What do you think has to be done to promote Indian products in terms of branding as well as final sale?
Sir, definitely, sir. This is two different world. One is the brand world, one is the manufacturing world. Even if you take China, China does not have a world brands going on out of made out of China. China brand own brand. China may own a foreign brand, but Chinaலேயே டெவலப் பண்ண பிராண்ட் கிடையாது. வியட்நாம்லயும் கிடையாது, இந்தியாலயும் கிடையாது, இது கிடையாது. இது மேனுஃபேக்சரிங் இது. நாம what we have to do is we have to develop our market in India. The brand has to be produced, nurtured in India. Then slowly we will be going out into the world, selling our product. Otherwise, slowly now a step is being made. First, we are made to making manufacturing. We have to strengthen. That has been done now. Now the digitized, the online, this all has come out. It's very easy for us to slowly. We are easy to go out and sell in the brand, but it takes each brand's history. You take at least 50 to 100 years they are having it, the brands. 50 years of the brands are there. Particularly the leather brands are coming up. You see his talk about Florsham, talk about Clarks, talk about big brands. They are very old brands. So India will take its time. Definitely we should move towards that, and we will move slowly on that. That will be the best thing will be to go faster is buy a brand, international brand, then develop our own brand along with that as a co-branding. Along with that, that will be the faster one.
To a certain extent, it's perhaps swimming against the tide in India. Because when you look at the Indian consumer, he always wants to have something foreign. He wants to have a foreign brand with him. And when you tell him that, you get the same quality from an Indian brand manufactured here, it's not as attractive. So how do you really make that consumer change his mind so that he's able to buy an Indian brand and be satisfied with that?
Sorry, this is applicable to anything, any product This is nothing to do with shoes. Any
Absolutely.
product, Indians have a mind that they say foreign means that is okay. That's very good. They feel that was good. But that is fast changing now.
Okay.
Completely changed now. Almost so many things have come. That is also a contribution given by foreign companies who manufacture in India. They also put in their mind that made in India does not mean that it is bad or it is low, and that is helping today. Today, what do you think? Anything goes seeing all these television, electronic items are made in India, and we have no feeling about thinking about it. Maybe a brand is different. Slowly, it will come. I think Indian brands in the shoe industry is very good. I can tell you, there are brands as you go to the market and see the Indian brands, they are very big brands. You in Indian brands itself is progressing very well. We don't have any dominating foreign brands in India. Indian brands are selling good. They're trying to do it. Clarks are trying to do here, there one or two brands are coming here. That is also mostly made in India only. And it will come. So our people are now accepted that made in India is not bad. It is good as it. Slowly we had to put it. It needs a lot of spending money and putting it in their mind. That's all. I think we can able to do that.
The Commerce Ministry, Government of India, has set a target of $10 billion by 2025 for the leather sector. And this means that it's a growth rate of about 15 to 17%. Do you feel that this growth rate is realistic? And if so, how do we get to that point?
Sir, I think they have what they have put up the 10 billion is an ambitious number. But is it, if you ask me, is it possible? I say it is possible. It's quite possible that what is today? Today's demand, I can tell you, after the post-COVID, and particularly so from US market and other things, this huge demand has come. And I can tell you, they are not looking for China now. They are not looking to Vietnam at the moment. Cambodia is too smaller. The only country they are looking as an alternate to all those market is India. They want capacities to be made here. They pushing us to increase the capacities, double your capacities is possible. They want to give a commitment to you the next 3 to 4 years we can come in. Big brands, I may not mention the name, they want to come and open factories, not come in open, they want us to open the factories here more big. And if you see all this happening is going to happen in the next 2 3 years, I think we may reach that, we will reach that 10 billion, what they are saying. But only thing in all these things is the training, infrastructure, building, license, all those things has to be done quickly. Then we can reach that. It's not impossible to do 10 billion. Today it may is doubling. Today is 5.4 billion now, almost now. Now we have to double that, and it's quite possible. This last few months it has gone up to 30% growth rate in some of the items there. So we can able to reach out, sir.
Your manufacturing is based in Ambur, which is in Vellore district in Tamil Nadu. Of course, Ambur is well known for its food as well. And there is definitely a well-established leather cluster there. There are several other production centers for footwear and leather products in India's production and leather centers that are located in Tamil Nadu. What is your opinion on what the government should do to improve upon this sector, and perhaps whether these kind of cluster concepts can be replicated in other parts of Tamil Nadu?
Sir, Ambur is a natural cluster which has been developed over 10 decades, 100 years probably they're there. It has become a tannery center one time, and that's because it was located near Palar, as the water was the important part of it, as the tanning in those days, they felt that water is important for that. So that's why they established there. And then the bark was available, the Wabaram bark was one type of a time which was available there. These are the whole historical reason. But over the years, it has become a natural cluster. That is why was successful. But it changed, the cluster changed from tanning to upper making, shoe making, everything came in. And once the shoe making came, then a lot of support industry came there. They built it up. Today, anywhere you want to succeed, you had to succeed in a cluster. You cannot be in isolation. Everything should be available around the car, about 30 kilometers or 50 kilometers there. Even if you see the Hyundai or some big companies come up, they want their parts, spare parts, everybody located near them to come in, speed, fast. So I think Ambur's development has come out over the decades, and it will continue to grow there. The only problem is the infrastructure. Can it be repeated? Can we create another Ambur in some other places? Yes, it's quite possible, but may not be like the same way. It has to be in a different way. And the people see what we are looking at. It is the largest footwear is a large employment industry. I always tell the government, don't choose yourself any areas. We need infrastructure near the port. Port has to be there, near there, and labor mapping has to be done. We need a lot of women workers there. If you put it somewhere where there is no labor available around that, there is no possible. So you have to create. See, they created a park near Ilugatukotte. There was no, it has failed because no labor can come there without a bus and everything 1 hour or so. So we have to see, we can create it. We have to work on that. And we are also telling them to create another one because Ambur cannot take any more industry there. That is enough, no labor available there. And it is quite possible, sir. Slowly we can have to work it out in different models.
We now go on to the second section, Mr. Rafiq. This is on your organization and your role within your organization. I'd like to start off with R&D, research and development. The Tamil Nadu leather industry has pioneered India's innovation and research and development. And the roots of the R&D here within Tamil Nadu go way back to 1948, when CLRI, the Central Leather Research Institute, was started in Chennai. But right from that point on, maybe 60, 70 years, we seem to have lost our way in terms of the amount of R&D that this industry is committing to continue its innovation. What do you think we should do to redevelop that strong R&D presence within Tamil Nadu?
I think so. Yes, CLRI being established here in 1948, but it's really one of the gift we got in those days, and that is one of the thing which made us to change from old traditional tanned leather to finished leather. At that time, it was CLRI's contribution was enormous, and they've done a good job. But the industry's speed was so fast to change because they were going to the global way. That has really left behind the CLRA little backward. They have to come forward and there. But now CLRA is coming out with a lot of new innovations. The ministry also has asked them to push to on that. The industry is also demanding from CLRA much in there. They are coming up now in the same speed as which the industry is going, and we think that R&D is very important. And the because today, as you all know, leather is a functional now item now, not a fashionable item alone. There is a lot of functional sustainability. Today, everything has to be sustainable. Everything. That is why where the research is important. Or I think CLRI is doing their. They are now working on a very high on this one, along with the industry. We have a lot of hope that it will come back into the same space.
The leather sector is considered to be a polluting sector. It's considered to be non-recyclable and non-biodegradable as well. So there are a few negative connotations that the leather sector has among people's mindset. However, one of your firm's policies has been environment sustainability, occupational health, and safety. How have you been successful, both in terms of your business growth as well as taking care of the environment in a business that's considered to be non-green in nature?
I tell you today, leather industry is, I may not even say to the extent it is not a polluting industry, a pollution-led industry, or we are even fighting it to be removed from the red category of tanning industry from to be removed from it, because we were one of the first one in this industry here who has introduced a zero liquid discharge. That means not a single drop of water goes below the ground here, and everything is recycled back into the production. 90%, 90 to 95% of the water is recycled back into the industry. Only 5% is evaporated. And all the solid wastes are regenerated into different, and we are supplying to the cement industry also. So this is a very quite different now. But we at Farida, we always felt it in the working atmosphere, working chemicals, everywhere sustainability was one of the priority for us, and one of the success story of our customers is that they can able to see what are the health we are doing on occupational health and other things. We take care of our workers health on this, and the working environment, the thing, even on the position they are sitting, we take the scientifically we research and see what comfort level they can able to do. No hazardous chemicals are used in the footwear. Before it was all petroleum based adhesives were used. Now it is water based. Nothing, no other hazardous waste or waste. No. So we are very taking care of it, for the worker very much today, because the women worker, we feel that their health is very important. They should not work for 8 hours, means they have to comfortably, they should be taking it. Every aspect of it is taken in international standard only in our factories. That is why we were able to get all the approvals from the top brands. It's very difficult to get an approval on that.
Today, your group perhaps is about close to 3,000 crores in top line. That's no way small in any way, and certainly a good size company, a good size group. But when we look at the MSME sector, which is the mainstay of any growing economy, the MSMEs certainly face a good amount of problems in any sector in terms of scalability and competition. Now, what might be considered big in India might not necessarily be considered big in other parts of the world. China, for instance, might be way bigger than just 3,000 crores or much more than that as well. How do MSMEs be able to scale to the next level? MSMEs are certainly struggling today, especially after COVID. without the kind of support that they require here. What do you think are the lessons and what are the solutions for MSMEs, definitely within the leather industry, but also MSMEs at large?
There are two parts of the question. One is how small, how although you are a big one, but how are you comparing with Chinese standard of size? I can tell you, as a leather shoe manufacturing, we are an equal to a Chinese factory. Any Chinese factory, we make around 30,000 pairs a day, 40,000 pairs. And if you can see, a leather shoe making factory in China is also the same, considered as 40,000 is considered as a good size company. The only problem, the difference is the Chinese make it under one roof. And we cannot afford to make 25,000 people working in one roof, 25,000 people. Then we had to have a different factories, 3, 4, 5, 6 factories across the board. That is the only difference. But as a company, as a size is the same. It is a better administration wise in China. It's very easy to administer 50, 30,000 people also under one roof because they have got a lot of dormitories there and they keep the people there. This is a different way of working on that. As far as the MSME is concerned, this industry, that there is nothing like leather industry and footwear industry which supports the MSME sector than any other industry, because we can't make everything in our factory. We like to give it to the small scale industry to make it support us in this one. We are promoting a lot of MSMEs there. The one problem we have is the compliance, international compliance of the big brands. If I am compliant on all the sectors, my supplier, my MSME also has to fall through that. In the beginning, they lost out. Some of them cannot follow the rules. Now we are educating them, we are putting them there. We are developing a lot of MSMEs. There is a good future of MSMEs in leather industry. I opposed to other industries. Definitely, we need them and they need us both. If MSME is trying themselves to do some big business to America or something like this, it's not possible. The size is small. So they need to have a support of a bigger factory and that will prosper very well, and that is going to do it. As long as the MSME as a whole of India is concerned, definitely after the COVID, what they have suffered, they have to recover. It will take a little more time. I think hand-holding by the government is necessary, and support from the banks and through banking sector and other things. If the support comes in, the way we are going in the future, I think they will get up. I mean, they will come back to well. But it needs another 2 years support. Definitely, all the MSMEs need support, sir. Both
That's
from the
again a very
industry, large
important,
industry and the government. It cannot be government alone.
right. That's again a very important point that you've made, Mr. Rafi. Completely agree with you. In fact, that's what SICCI has also informed the MSME ministry in government of Tamil Nadu, that the way to get MSMEs going is to make sure that large industries are able to work with these MSMEs and outsource, like what you are doing within the leather industry. That's a very good model to be able to take to other sectors as well. We will again be making sure that our efforts are kept up with the government. The next question, Mr. Rafiq, is from the audience. It's going to be by Mr. Samandam, who is the chair of SICCI's Economic Affairs Committee. Mr. Samandam, please go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. Rafiq Ahmed, welcome.
Thank you,
It's a
sir.
pleasure to meet you after many decades.
Yes.
Thank you very much for joining SICCI's 360 session. It's a great pleasure to have you, sir. I join the President and the others in welcoming you to our session. Thank you. My question is a very industry-wide one. It's not to do with your enterprise exclusively, which has done extremely well and exceptionally well. It's with industry as such, you know. Tamil Nadu is a national leader in the leather industry, but there are also, on the other side of the story, there are also studies that say, for instance, by the Labor Bureau, that say that this has meant not much of benefit proportionately for the workers in the sector. What are the issues that are affecting the workers in the leather sector, especially in Tamil Nadu? And are you satisfied with the industry response as such? And what more needs to be done in areas such as health, living conditions, and wages? Thank you very much.
Kindly turn on your video if you don't mind.
Oh, 1 minute, please. You want me to turn on the video? Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
Uh, yeah, thank
Yes,
you,
please go ahead.
Dosa. Thank you. Hello. Uh, Tamil Nadu definitely I will talk about my industry first. Definitely, government needs to improve uh, the one thing I will tell you. I will come very specific also to the industry, not as my organization as the industry. The cluster in Ambur. They have exhausted about 50 kilometers available ladies more than 20 years or 18 years above girls up to 60 years. They are all exhausted. Nobody is sitting at home. Everybody is coming to work and there. They cannot go beyond that. Otherwise you have to pay 1 hour travel time for them to send a bus, 1 hour going and coming. That's the extreme time you can give it to them, not more than that. We are telling the government so that we can, and what is our, I also had to experience with you my factory also. We are policy is walk to work. That is the concept. Factory cannot come, the worker should not come to the factory should go to the worker because of the women employment. And Tamil Nadu will progress. I have seen my place in Northagar district earlier, before now it's the Pattur district. How progressive it has made in the last 1 decade to 2 decades, just because of the employment of women employment. Today, men are unemployed there. Men, women, you can't find out on them. They are bringing the lunch and other things for them, for their wife or daughter and everybody there. This is making a psychological problem there. We got a psychiatrist who visits them and tell them how to control their husbands. Now they are feeling inferior. This is the kind of a thing. What we know, the intervention of the government is that we are telling the government to build some dormitories so that even the women who can be employed more, who cannot come, we don't want them to come and occupy all the towns and there in the creative atmosphere there. They can come and stay in a government dormitories and they can come to work there. They can walk to work and they can be able to, the earning can be increased. This is a way we feel the huge employment can be generated today. Instead of unorganized moving of the migration from other towns to the Ambur, like a town to come in. This has to be done. And Tamil Nadu is trying to do, helping us in training methods, training, skilling. That is important and that is doing a good job. And the industry is also taking a lead on that. I think Tamil Nadu has got a great future, but the demand what the industry wants, we are not having enough workers in there. In the well. There we are finding it difficult unless we migrate to some other places, not necessarily other states, some other places, clusters also, we cannot be able to do it. Mr. Samantha, I hope I can answer that. I may not be in detail to point, but still. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I lost the audio.
Sorry about that. It's been predicted that non-leather based footwear will have a great future. Do you think this is a reality? And also, bringing in more automation into the leather sector, will it affect jobs and people who depend on the sector?
I tell you, non-leather sector is a very great future for the future. I think it's going to be the non-leather industry only will prosper much more than the leather industry, as you all know, because you all know in the globally meat consumption has come down. People are not finding it difficult, and you can see the cost of the meat has gone up so much. Instead of 2 days a week, the people are taking 1 day, not only here but other places also. So the leather consumption will come down, leather availability will come down, non-leather will play a great role. But what we have in the older days, non-leather means it is the plastic, PVC, that's all not there. Today, non-leather means kind of a fibers which has been developed, very sustainable materials, very functional materials. Now, that is why non-leather has, the sports industry has revolutionized this non-leather footwear. They have brought out and such a very comfortable shoes, even made out of non-leather, and that has created a great future in the future. If the demand comes to the, there is no supply of leather. the way the growth is there. So it has to be non-leather only. That is how the brands are now, the sports brands have grown out. Copying the sports brand, even the dress shoe people are now copying this non-leather, and it is got a good feature. And I think you will see India's growth will also come in the non-leather footwear from made in India. Answering to your second question about the mechanization and automation, that is going to help the workers. It's not going to eliminate the workers. There may be a certain part of skilling, de-skill. It will de-skill that one, because skilling is a very important thing. But the machine which has come easier, it will help the women workers. See, we have developed one machine ourselves here, helping out, which was not been made. No women worker can hold it. It's a very heavy loss, shoe loss. With that, they had to work. We were called some good engineers and then designed it in the way the women can take it up. That is how this then new technology will come. I can tell you an example. We need 100 process from cutting from leather to shoe to packing in a box. Now Nike has come out with a process automation to the level of 6 only. Against 100, we need a 6th intervention to make complete a shoe. That is what they are now developed that. It is going to be a challenge. It is going to help us. It is not going to be a challenge to India. I think we are going to adopt it. Now all the stitching machine has become a computerized and thing, which is helping our workers also. So I think it is not going to be telling on the worker. It is going to help the workers on the future.
You have certainly pioneered employing women in your factories. And the leather sector for a long period of time was earlier considered a male-oriented industry. What were some of the challenges that you faced in creating these opportunities for women? And also on the other side, how do we deal with the men who don't have jobs in Ambur?
That is right. That is always a discussion going on, and how to employ more men. That is the discussion which is going on. I tell you, we were the first one, and others followed it. Also, the women workers were being very disciplined first, and they learned their skill very fast. Frankly, they are very loyal to the company, and we try to employ the women also from the same family, sisters coming in together, mother and daughter coming to work together, so that the whole family is attached to the factory, or something like Japanese thinking of working on that. That way, we were successful at doing it. And in the beginning, in a society like Ambur, which is a Muslim there, so they felt that I will go to the hell if they employ the women or do like this. I said, I'll rather go to the hell than not employing the women and make them the employee. Now even the Maulis are sending their daughters to the factory to go and work there. This is how this atmosphere changed. And because of the women's work employment, Ambur has prospered well. The whole economy has prospered well. All around the families, the villages has prospered well. We are trying now to train the workers also, the male workers, to get into different jobs, not necessarily stitching and other things, other jobs. And they will be, the demand is so much that we may need them also on that thing. And it will continue, Arun, in the future also. The women, wherever we go, we look at the women only. In India, this is not a position if you go to Agra, if you go to Kanpur, there is, you can see 10%, 20% women will be working there. That is one of the reasons also, is that our women are educated well, and then our safety, our things are there, women to come out and work. Even today we are working according to women's convenience. Our shift, we are telling even the or 2 shifts, whichever shift you feel free to come, you can in the first shift or the second shift. What you need, another help, we are helping them on that. The children, we are taking care of them, the schools for admission, all the colleges, even everything we are taking care. Thank you.
We now move on to the third section. The second section for you, Mr. Rafiq, was overloaded because we had quite a lot of questions that we wanted to discuss with you. That's why it has taken us a bit of time. We now move on to the third section, which is on your career path. Marketing is very important for any industry, whether it's leather or anything else as well. In your opinion, what have been the marketing strategies that have been successful for you? And also, what do you think needs to be done to get a good customer base and retain it particularly?
I tell you, the best thing to retain a customer today, international customer, is your quality and your delivery. Third one is the pricing, no doubt. You have to be competitive in the pricing. One have to work together and be competitive. Unless you are priced out, you cannot be able to do it. But at the same time, the quality and the delivery is a very, very important factor. That one, we have to keep that very happy. If you keep a very happy customer, and you will really grow with them, along with them. They like to grow with you. That is what they are saying. We have to grow, want to grow with you, and that is the which one. Second one is our marketing. We have established to service the customer very much. That is why we opened a warehouse in Germany. From Germany, we have shipping the goods, and from the warehouse, according to their need, we are shipping them to everywhere. And that area, the whole of the area, the goods are being transported to them, and everything they reach it out. We have an office in Tokyo, Japan, with the Japanese people working with our customers there. Any call, they will go and attend to them. All this appointing good local agents there, and the offices which we opened up in the Japan and US and UK, that has helped us to penetrate the market. And in the future, it has to be. The service is the important for us to any customer. Today, suppliers are too many suppliers are in the world. The best service who gives, they will stay with them.
Our next question is from our audience. This is a student, Miss Jessie Grace. She's a final year student in IT at SPC. Jessie, please go ahead. Jessie Grace, if you're online, please go ahead.
Hello. Am I
Hello?
audible?
Yes, please.
Yeah, good evening. So my question is, what's your major accomplishment and what else would you want to achieve? And what's the biggest risk you've taken and how did you succeed in that?
I think biggest success, I told you, biggest risk I taken was going ahead of the time. Before the market opens up, you are getting yourself putting into that. I'm saying when the things are doing good for shoe uppers, everybody was making money out of shoe upper. We ventured into shoes, telling without knowing. Even the customer said, you cannot do that. I said, okay, let me do it. You can buy that. You will come and follow me. That way we risked it. 1 year, I stopped the export of upper and went into that, jumped into that. That was the risk I taken. Like that taking risk and market risk also we have taken. Certain markets we opened an office and expenses for 2 years. We were able to work on that and we were able to succeed at that. That is kind of looking ahead the future market and investing in it without a return for the next 2-3 years. That is the risk I have taken, and that has paved way for us. By grace of God, we were successful in all these risk-taking factors, I can tell you. Did it answer your question, Jesse?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Rafiq.
Thank
Now,
you.
today your business is a family business, and of course it was started by your father, and you are now taking care of it. You also have your sons taking care of it. In fact, we are very glad that Mr. Irshad, your son, is joining us today. He's also our executive committee member and playing a very active role in our foreign trade committee in SICCI. What are the main challenges of running a family enterprise, Mr. Rafiq, and how have these challenges evolved over the decades?
I think keeping control of your sons are the big challenge. I got 4 boys who are working, taking care of the business. And to make them uniformly apply is not possible. I know. Tell you, everyone has got his own way of working on that. That is why what challenges I took was that instead of putting them uniformly in the one way or another, let them allow them to have their own way of style of operating in the business. And that is why we given them one company for them to run and market for them. You can choose USA and Germany, you choose Italy and France and other things. You can have a different factory. It is you who have to run it in your own style. So when you see this whole within our company, when you see the difference, there are differences in each company of running an organization according to the each one's individual entrepreneurship is a different way. That I felt that has the one way. Instead of putting them everything into uniformity, I put them into the challenge, and it is run differently also within our company. Everybody knows it is differently run, but everything is a successful enterprise in their own way. That is why the family business succeeds today. In the leather industry business also, globally, the whole globally is run family run business only. It is not by only the brands are different. Brands are owned by the big corporates, but the business are run by families in globally 100 years old companies. I can count so many family run companies, successful companies in leather industry, and leather industry will always be the future will be like there. It will be different thing as a branding and marketing is different there other things will come in the marketing. So I still feel family run is much better control for the leather industry to change rather than as they are going and investing in the public investment to going into that. That is, I found believing it. I'm glad my sons also believe that. That is, they will also continue like that. That is what I feel, sir.
That actually leads on to my next question, which I would say is my personal favorite. So this
Yeah.
is the we go on to the fourth section, which is the next generation. So my favorite question is, in fact, we have one of our committee members, Mr. Gopi Koteshwaran, has also joined here. He's just come out of a very successful IPO where he's raised enormous amount of money with his company, Latent View Analytics. There is definitely a very big interest among the next generation today to go for an IPO and raise good amount of money. But the Farita group has very, very consciously remained private. And in fact, our Professor Murugavel, who's in charge of our discussion points for today, he said Mr. Rafiq Ahmed is a very private man. I wasn't able to find too much of information, but still he came up with enormous number of points for me to speak to you about. Was there any reason, Mr. Rafiq, that you felt that let's not go after the capital markets, let's not list the company, let's remain private and continue in this manner?
I still felt that family-run business, private-run business will be a much better way, where you are driven by a IPO, then you are driven to get your numbers. I am also in some of the directors in the big companies where I feel that by end of the month, how the end of the quarter, how much they want to show a result rather than performing, rather than the number to come out, something like to come out. We feel that our is working of a way which we feel that is there. We don't need an IPO to drive on that basis or something. We can run it in our own speed and even get it to the profitability. In the end of the day, what comfort you get, what satisfaction you get, and how much you are connected to the people, connected to the society, I feel that matters much. There you will lose out if you go into that one. That is why we feel that this way we are comfortable. Let's go into that. Even if it goes to a bigger scale, what we are planning for the next 3 years, the big scales to go up. We feel that we can manage it within this without going at that. That is where we start feeling. I may not able to put it out on the kind words on that detailed words.
Our next question is from another student, Mr. A. Jason. He's a first year student of information technology at SVC. Jason, please go ahead and please also turn on your video.
Yeah, sir.
Jason, we cannot see you.
Sir, can you see me?
Not yet. We can only hear you.
Sir, wait, sir. Let me check. Sir, can you see me?
We can see a black screen.
Sir, I don't know.
Okay,
please
go ahead with your question.
Yeah, okay, sir. As you mentioned, the need of the hour was to skill supervisors and floor managers. Why is this so important?
Oh, supervisors and managers. They are very important for manufacturing, you know. You said, why are they so important? Is it? Can you again put the question? Yes, sir.
Why is it important to skill supervisors and floor managers?
Sir,
Yeah.
definitely, supervisors and things are very important to coordinate when you are assembling plants are done. It is what is shoe industry is in the assembly one. It is just like anything. You had to see the coordination, supervising is done in proper way. Everything is done. That is very important on that supervise. Everything is moved on that. Everything is following the same speed of that the production speed is maintained because it is a conveyor led productions are done in our factories where one fails, one goes on slow or something like that, everybody is affected, the whole production will be affected, where we need to have a supervisor on that. It's not a old type of supervisors. They are helping the workers to get on to any problems or there to attend to them. That is only the things which we are training the supervisor to do that. And as far as the middle management is concerned, is very important in technology. I think I can tell you, shoemaking is a technology, very high technology today, not like those days before. That was artisan work before, but now it's technology based. We need it. And everything is controlled now. Every point of production is controlled. So we need a good trained supervisor as well as a middle management level. We need to do that, Jason.
Mr. Rafiq, now moving on to areas outside of the leather industry so that we can more broad base our discussion. You've certainly trained under your father and you've learned a lot from him. Is there anything that you wish you learned but didn't have the chance to? And also the second part of this question is, you successfully inducted your sons into your business as we spoke earlier. What is your inputs for people who want to plan for such succession in their individual businesses?
I think if you can, the next generation, I can tell you, the new generation. Now that my grandchildren are coming back from abroad from after educating them. We have to show them the success of our business, and it is not that what we used to work like that, they will be working on that. They have to see how success it will come up, and I feel that we must, it is how you interest them, how to make them interest the business in the success and everything you can able to show them. That is what's possible. I can give you one example. My grandson came up after undergraduating in the UK. Then I wanted to put him in this training now for 2-3 months in the factory. I told him to develop something for the labor. So he developed something like some increase income of them by asking them to buy something and sell among the workers and everything like the thing. And that has really done a very good job. The hundreds of they benefited. That model made him to first acceptance in the Cornell University applied, and they called him on the overseas. What are you doing? You don't have work experience. I can't take you. I need 5 years of. He only said, I got 5 months of experience doing this is what I have done and sent the paper. He was accepted. And they said, you don't have to pay any fees. I will take it. We need a people like that. That is how I think we have to motivate our generations, putting them in the right way, and they will come and automatically will be pulled into this business. They will come into this business instead of running and going away from some other business. That's what I feel.
I was in a France reception last night, and the discussion there was that this is the right time to be in India, to do business in India. India is a great place to be doing business at this point of time. And there are also several options for entrepreneurs to go after in business. What do you think are the kinds of businesses that will dominate in the future within India? And are we prepared for it? Also, there are a lot of startups that are mushrooming. The government is encouraging startups. A lot of people are wanting to start their own companies. So a lot of startups are mushrooming across India. Is there scope for startups within the leather sector as well?
I think, as I told you earlier, also the leather sector also there is a good possibility of bringing up the startups, online business, online branding, online thinking, and connecting with the supplier base there. The factories cannot have their own business of online marketing. There, startups can come up and create these models. They can be a very big success on that. Framing on the software for the industry. All those things can be a great success, and we have seen some of the success stories also. They have done an excellently good job in going on online business, branding Indian products, shoe products, and they've been successful. And that's quite possible, sir. And I think this industry has a great future for the young one and the startups for the future of for the leather industry. I always encourage the young ones to come into this business, and I think the success rate is much higher in this sector than any other sector. I get it.
Mr. Rafiq, you've been successful in business. You have supported multiple social projects. You've been at the helm of various trade bodies. What has been your mantra to have led such a busy and holistic life?
I don't know. Apart from my own business, as you said, I was in the SICCI, I was in FICCI, I was in Council for Leather Export, and my two things which is very close to my heart is the Council for Leather Export and FIEO also, Federation of Indian Export Organization, because these are the policy bodies for the sector. FIEO for the export sector and CLE for the leather sector, and that has kept me very busy, and that helped the industry also to come up. Social development also, we'll tell the government about the industry's image. As you said, many of the people felt that leather industry is a polluting industry, is a bad industry. We had to tell the government, show them this is the way. So we need to kind of work through these organizations. Even SICCI, this is FICCI, we have to go and tell them this industry is not like what you are thinking. It is a very successful industry, and that has kept me very well. My satisfaction has given me a lot of satisfaction in a lot of leather policies, which are government policies. We have worked on that, and that has given me a full policy, and that keep me happy for them. Apart from that, also we are also I'm involved in many of the other social things. I'm heading a very big orphanage which has got a 950 orphans in that thing with full boarding. They are staying there and doing that. Gives me a lot of time. In the evening I go away. In the afternoon I go away, spend half of my days with them and to work on that. This gives a kind of a satisfaction. But giving back to the society and the needy ones, which they need much more, I think, sir. One is the policy which helps the other industry. One is the society which needs some help, which we can able to give. God has provided us, and we want to share with them. That gives a satisfaction in their life more than the business is not everything in the life. Success in business is not the only measures. Success of yourself on your own satisfaction is more important than anything else. And that's what I'm saying.
That's wonderful, Mr. Rafiq, for you to be running such an orphanage. I think that's a very, very good effort on your part. It's heartening to note that you're providing opportunities for so many orphans, but at the same time, it's sad that there are so many orphans within our society. Also, when I was talking to Mr. Irshad, he told me that one of your sons is involved with taking care of this orphanage in particular. He spends a good amount of time. I forget which one of the four it is, but you've also made sure that the next generation is also linked up to this. So an effort that certainly should be appreciated. Good job. We now move on to
involved in a physically challenged and autism school. Within this orphanage, we have running a school for the autism and other physically Down syndrome. My daughter is fully involved in running that also. The next generation also are contributing to this society.
Very good. We now move on to the final section of today's program. This is your inputs for society. Mr. Rafiq, what would you say is the status of governance within corporate India? How can effective governance be implemented in family businesses such that it sustains for a longer period of time?
Sir, I think in our governance is very important in the future. This is it cannot be the old way of doing it in the family system or not only. We have to invite in the board only. See, what we are trying to mix up is in the board, we will invite some prominent people to the board in our own family board, and there they will come up and they will help us in bringing a discipline in the board, discipline in the governance, and we are importing a lot of very famous, good chartered accountants into that, good corporate governance people are inside our board. What we are trying to do is governance is a very important thing for sustainability and for the growth for which you are now having. You cannot grow with 4 or 5 people in the whole thing. It has to be the system of the governance which is important. You have ambitious plan for the future, the next 3 to 5 years, and definitely that will help, and that is important. Unless we bring them inside our as a directors and other things, we cannot be able to do it. Sir.
Our next question is from the audience again. This is from Mr. S.M. Shankar, who is the chair of SICCI's Food and Nutrition Committee. Mr. Shankar, please go ahead, and if you can please turn on your video.
Yeah. Really a wonderful session, Mr. Rafiq. I really enjoying
Mr.
it.
Shankar, we cannot see you.
Am I visible?
Not yet.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, Shankar. Solunga.
Vanakkam. It's a wonderful session. Thank you, sir. Wonderful. A lot of learning for me personally.
Thank
watching
you.
it. There have been 2 questions from me. You have headed various trade bodies, including SICCI, CLE, and FIO, among others, FICCI as well. Do you think trade bodies are still playing an effective role today? How can trade associations evolve and continue to be relevant to the industry scenario?
As I told you, sir, this the problem is the government announces policies. They show that they are consulting with the industry in the beginning and announce a policy. You know that none of the policy, 100% people are able to accept it, which is a lot of flaws are there in the policy. Every time they announce something which is not suitable to what would you are thinking the industry needs it. They think they want to help you giving a good policy. And that is where we as an organization, these councils go and tell them that this, where it has to be done, where the correction has to be done. Our life has gone only correcting it rather than giving a lead to them, rather than what they announced, we have to correct it properly and bring it to the usage of that. And even today, I think relevance is there. All these organizations have a relevance because we are progressing. Our growth is very huge growth. We are going to have it in India. And we have to lead the government because we know we are like a politician. They need the people very well on the road. They know what is happening on the road and what is happening. They have to reflect it on the way to their bosses, political bosses, what is happening, what is the need. That is how we can also go back and tell what is the industry needs, what is the trade needs today, and that has to be fought out, and in a way, subtle way, we have to tell them where they are wrong and correct it themselves and tell them future what is important for us to do that. That is all the time we need it, sir. You know very well, even today, US has got a lobbying, big lobbying, the things are going on. That is the same thing like association. I was a member of the federal association in US also. They were doing the same lobbying with the government. That will continue today also. Relevance to us in India. All these organizations are important for us. The only thing is we had to tune it to the way the government's policies are and how to we had to work both industry and the government together. See, in our life, from day to day life up to the industry, government is attached to that. What they decide is what is going to happen here. This is why, as long as the industry is governed by these policies, we have to need these associations.
Just to add, Mr. Rafiq, I think associations should be diplomats rather than politicians.
Yeah. To friends, subtle way, we have to tell them what is wrong. I think you are done it a good job and say through SICCI and the way you are working with the government. Sir, I can tell you one thing. Now, government, whichever government it is, they feel that they need us more than we need them. They need us to guide them properly. This is what one way கொஞ்சம் மாறி இருக்கு இப்போ. Things have changed. Not that நான் சொல்றதுதான் நடக்கணும்ன்றதெல்லாம் இல்லை இப்போ. நீங்க சொல்லுங்க சார் என்ன போனோம் உங்களுக்கு சொல்லுங்க நீங்க கைடு பண்ணுங்கன்ற சொல்ல அளவுக்கு இப்போ வந்துட்டாங்க எல்லாருமே ஒரு ஃபீலிங் வந்துடுது இப்போ. That is a good change for us to grow, industry to grow, the trade to grow in the India. I think.
The final question for today, Mr. Rafi. India has long been considered an agriculture economy in the maybe in the 50s, 60s, 70s, maybe even into the 80s. We've been doing a lot of work in agriculture. But since then, we've been in Tamil Nadu, if you look at it, we've been coming down from an agriculture standpoint. And even as a country, we're coming down from an agriculture standpoint. Other businesses have taken over IT, maybe manufacturing to some extent. You're from the leather sector. Shouldn't we prioritize this very important sector so that it increases our self-sufficiency rather than only increasing the newer sectors?
I think there is a lot of scope. If you ask me if there is any other industry, I want to ask you a question. If you want to go, I would have rather said I will go to agriculture produce industries there because there are so much of value additions we can able to do in the agriculture where we are not doing it. We are not able to do that, and there is a good scope. And government is always saying that. They have to value additions should be done. This has to be processing, food processing ministry is there, food processing, nothing much is happening. We need to develop that value addition. Profit will come from there, go back to the farmers from there only, not straight away from the farm. It has to come from there. What is able to do that? It's a huge scope. I think I firmly believe that India should improve their food processing industry, thereby supporting the agriculture there. They cannot deviate from that. Definitely they not. There is a big opportunity there. We have to tell the people this is a big opportunity exists on that.
Mr. S.M. Shankar, that's a good input as well that you can take into your committee. And in fact, it was glad to see the Commerce Minister talking about the fact that the government of India wants to focus on agriculture startups, agri startups, and that they're going to create a fund to get that going. But what will be good is rather than focusing just on the logistics part, it'll be good for such agri startups to go to the grassroots level and literally get involved in increasing our crop outputs so that the farmers gain and everybody gains around that. Mr. Rafi, thank you very, very much for joining us. It's been a very, very good discussion. And thank you for the patience.
And I just want to tell you one thing. We used to work in SICCI with the agricultural thing and Tiruchi and other thing. Also during my time, also we worked for the banana production. The people with them, how to help them. That is the thing. You had always been working on that. SICCI was working on that. I think we should continue to work on that, sir. Chamber should be involved in the agriculture help to the farmers on that.
Absolutely. In fact, what we are planning on doing now is starting an agriculture desk. We are planning on getting experts in the industry who can come in and start this agri desk for us so that we can get completely independent on our decision making and follow through good policies that will be of benefit to the farmers as well as the government as well as industry at large. So what we are planning on doing is rather than focusing on the agri committee that was being done in the past, we thought this agri desk will be a good idea. So our Vice President, Mr. V.N. Shivashankar, and our Secretary, Mr. Vinod Solomon, are working on that together. So we hope that we'll be able to roll this out shortly. Mr. Rafiq, thank you again. We now come to a second section, which of course we never informed you because that's a surprise section. We wanted to surprise you, but don't worry. As I said in the beginning of our conversation, this is we want our guests to be at comfort at all points of time. So we will not make you uncomfortable at any point. We call this the rapid fire round, where I will be giving you 5 words. And we would like to hear from you what is your response to each one of these 5 words. So with your permission, can we get started?
Yeah, tell me.
Okay, so the first word is leather.
close to my heart. Mm.
Very good. Very frank answer. The second word is creativity.
Second word,
Creativity.
creativity. It is quite important for everyone to be creative.
Okay. The third word is business.
Honesty in business is important.
Wonderful answer. The fourth word is love.
We should love our work. That's what I think.
And family, Mr. Rafiq.
Sir?
Love our work and family.
Yeah, family, definitely.
And the last word is India.
India should be we should make ourselves proud and make India proud of us also in the future. India. We should make India a proud country in the world and also make India proud of us being here. And particularly the people who come from here in Tamil Nadu, we should set an example for everyone be there as working real entrepreneurs here. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much, Mr. Rafiq. It's been
Thank
wonderful
you.
having
Thank
you
you,
with us.
everybody, every audience, to be patient with my whatever I shared with you. Thank you very much for staying so long with us. And thank you. Thank
And
you.
if I can request a few more minutes of your time and the audience time as well, Mr. Rafiq, for a few points that I'd like to share. Certainly, we appreciate your presence with us today. And as part of the SICCI 360 series, we would like to request you to kindly autograph your photograph and affix today's date. We will have this sent to you at the earliest opportunity. If you can please sign and date it and then send it back to us, we would like to keep this along with the memorabilia. Also, Mr. Rafiq, as a token of our appreciation for your joining us today, SICCI 360 has come up with an innovative way of honoring each one of our guests. There is what is known as the Kanchi Kamakoti Child's Trust Hospital in Chennai that has been providing yeoman's service to the underprivileged society. They treat several children from underprivileged families and take care of the medical expenses at a very nominal cost. So, Mr. Rafiq, on behalf of yourself and in your name, SICCI has contributed to this particular hospital so that it can fund the medical expenses of an underprivileged child. This certificate as well, we will have it sent to you at the earliest. Thank you very, very much, Mr.
Thank you very much. Thank you for the good cause.
SICCI would like to take this opportunity to thank for today's session the SICCI 360 committee. This committee is led by Mrs. Valli Arun, President of the, excuse me, ladies and gentlemen.
I should thank Mrs. Valli Arun.
This committee is led by Mrs. Valli Arun, President of the Velingro Group, Trustee of the Tamilisai Sangam. The co-chair of this committee is Professor T. Moragavil, Head of the Department Humanities and Social Sciences at SVC Chennai. Mr. Gokul Santanam, who's Senior Vice President Emphasis, is in charge of the marketing activities of SICCI 360. Mr. Amalan Alavandar, Environment Consultant at the Asian Development Bank, is responsible for the online chat session moderation. Ms. Vilasini M. Arun, student of clinical psychology, brings in the student perspective into SICCI 360. We have Mr. Vinod Solomon, Secretary SICCI, who's been adding a lot of value in terms of our discussion points. And of course, Ms. Bhavani Srinivasan, Assistant Secretary SICCI, who's responsible for the overall coordination of the SICCI 360 series. We would like to share with you, ladies and gentlemen, that the next session of SICCI 360 has been scheduled, session 19. This is with Dr. Jawahar Palaniappan. He's an intervention cardiologist, surgeon. He's director at the Knox Community Hospital in USA. He definitely plays multiple hats. He also teaches at the Ohio State University Medical College in Ohio. He's president of the Pala Realty LLC, which is based in USA. And he's right now in charge of the Kumudam publications. His father had started Kumudam in Chennai, which is a magazine that has spanned several decades, and they have various different publications within their group. Dr. J. Pala is what he is known as, certainly a highly successful and noted individual. We are also reaching out to the Tamil diaspora through this session. We have reached out to the Tamil diaspora in Singapore and Malaysia in the past. We are starting to reach out to the Tamil diaspora in the US as well. So this session has been scheduled for tentatively for Tuesday, April 12th at 6:30 p.m. Indian Standard Time to make it convenient for Dr. Jaypala also to join us from Florida. He's right now based in Florida. This session is also going to be held on our WebEx platform. Please make a note of it and certainly look forward to your joining us. We've also scheduled the May session, which we will announce to you in the course of time, and certainly look forward to your presence with us. This brings us to an end of today's session, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very, very much for your ongoing participation with us, and we certainly look forward to it continuing. We would like to take this opportunity to wish each one of you safe times ahead, and looking forward to you coming to each one of our programs as well in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, everyone. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Great honor to be with you. Zakir?